Behind every legend lies a reason. This is Myth and Motive.
The air in John's bedroom tasted of ozone and damp earth, thick enough to choke on. His phone screen was a fractured mess of static, but the digital clock beside it glowed with an impossible time. 88 to 88. Then came the scratching. Not from the door or the walls, but from somewhere beneath the floorboards. Slow, deliberate, like something was carving its way up. He stumbled to the window, his bare feet sticking to the cold floorboards as if they were coated in a thin, unseen sap. Outside, where his neighbor's house had stood for 40 years, there was only a yawning black pit, its edges crumbling into the earth. A low, electrical hum vibrated through the walls, and with it, the faint, sour smell of rotting copper wire filled his nostrils. His own reflection in the glass didn't move when he did. It just stared back, its mouth a silent, gaping oval of black. That's when the whispering started. Not from one place, but from every shadow in the room. A chorus of voices repeating a single word he no longer recognized. The name of his hometown. A vintage road sign, bent and rusted, reads, "Welcome to," with the nameplate missing. A family photo shows the background as a blurry, gray smudge. Not on any map, not in any record, and the only people who remember it are the ones trapped inside. Miller's Hollow exists in a cycle of oblivion, vanishing completely from the world every 33 years. The summer of 2023 marked the year the town was due to disappear again. A heavy, metallic scent of ozone and damp earth clung to the air in the days leading up to the event. Then, the moment arrived, and the heartbeat of the place simply stopped. Dead silence held the air for a single, suspended beat. This is what happened to the Henderson family. The backstory begins with John, a man in his 40s, grilling burgers on a sun-drenched afternoon. A gentle, melancholic acoustic melody underscores this last, perfect memory of normalcy. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across Maple Drive, as Sarah's laughter mingled with her daughter Lily's squeals from the tire swing. For John and Sarah Anderson, this quaint Ohio town represented their fresh start after Chicago's relentless grind. John's new remote IT position allowed them to purchase the sprawling Victorian fixer-upper they found online. Miller's Hollow promised peaceful beginnings, its quiet streets masking what lay dormant within those ornate walls. The listing's price was unnervingly low. The footage shifts to pristine, present-day visuals. The house stands beautiful yet neglected, vines creeping up its weathered facade. The surrounding town appears picturesque, its perfection feeling unnervingly artificial. Neighbors wave, their smiles thin and hollow, never reaching their vacant eyes. The town was quiet, idyllic on the surface. The neighbors were friendly, if a little reserved. Old Mr. Henderson tended his roses, the scent cloying and sweet, masking something else beneath the soil. Old Henderson, our neighbor, would spend hours on his porch, eyes locked on the mountains encircling our valley. He'd tell John, "The view's different today," but John dismissed it as the ramblings of a fading mind. Then we noticed the decorative map in our hallway, a vintage piece showing Ohio with Miller's Hollow clearly marked. That was the first subtle strangeness, a quiet detail that would soon unravel everything. John placed his order, but the delivery app glitched, unable to locate his address. When the pizza finally arrived, the delivery driver was a pale, sweating teenager. "System glitched," he stammered, his voice tight with an unspoken tension. He insisted on cash only, the damp, crumpled bills feeling strangely cold in John's hand. Then Sarah's new driver's license arrived, and under address, it was completely blank. The light in the town seemed perpetually stuck in a golden, unsettling sunset. Lily made a friend, and the air grew heavy with a damp, earthy scent. A low, dissonant drone began to seep into the silence, prickling at the skin. Emily only ever played in the woods at the edge of town. Her clothes, Lily noticed, were oddly old-fashioned, like something from a faded photograph. "My mom says we can't leave the gully," Emily whispered, her voice carrying the scent of damp earth and wet leaves. Lily didn't know what a gully was, but the word itself felt cold and sticky in the quiet air. John hunched over his desk, the blue light of his monitor carving shadows into his exhausted face. His fingers hovered over the keyboard before he tapped his old colleague's contact, Mike. "Mike, run a search for me." John's voice was a low rasp, carrying a weight it didn't have yesterday. Miller's Hollow, Ohio. Population. History. The words hung in the static-laced silence of the call. John's expression dissolved into disbelief. His voice dropped to a strained whisper, the air in the room suddenly feeling thick and cold. "What do you mean, no results?" "Code," he breathed out, the words tasting metallic with dread. "It's a whole town. Check the county records, the DOT maps." His sentence trailed off into a hollow silence as he turned to Mike, seeking an anchor in a reality that was crumbling. "Mike, you're breaking up." The call dissolved into harsh, grating static as his frozen image fractured. Outside, the window shattered with a violent crash that echoed through the empty house. The internet still functioned, but only for content originating within the town's borders. News from the outside world stopped updating entirely, and Sarah's phone would sometimes flicker, its date jumping back a day before lurching forward again. Time itself seemed to stutter. Sarah stood in the town's cramped library. The scent of aged paper and dust thickened the air. Mrs. Gray, the librarian, with weary, sunken eyes, watched her from behind the counter. A palpable stillness settled between them, broken only by the faint, dry rustle of pages from somewhere unseen. Sarah pulled a thick, dusty ledger from the shelf. Miller's hollow census. Every entry was meticulous. Births, deaths, property deeds, until a certain year. Then, a gap of exactly 33 years. The last entry before that void was 1924. Then, 1957, 1990. The next gap was due. Now, the ledger lay before him, its pages heavy with the scent of old paper and something metallic, like dried blood on ancient parchment. His fingers traced the cold, brittle paper as a sudden ozone tang filled the air, sharp and electric. The dates weren't just entries. They were markers in a silent, predatory rhythm. From somewhere deep in the house, a faint, wet scratching began, not like an animal, but like something dragging itself across rotten floorboards. The pattern was no coincidence. He realized the ledger wasn't recording history. It was a countdown, and the final tick was echoing through the still, damp air of the study right now. Sarah's finger traced the dates on the map, her breath catching in her throat. That night, a storm congealed over the mountains. A motionless, silent bruise of bruised purple and sickly green cloud. It smothered the only road out, and the air grew thick with the smell of ozone and damp earth. A deep, resonant hum vibrated through the valley, felt in the bones more than heard. The air carried the sharp tang of ozone and damp soil, undercut by the musty scent of decaying paper and ancient dust. His knuckles whitened on the steering wheel as he accelerated toward the mountain pass. Each rotation of the tires a desperate escape from the oppressive atmosphere. A metallic taste bloomed in his mouth, mixing with the lingering odor of rot that seemed to cling to the very air. The engine's growl was the only sound against the crushing weight of the night, pushing him forward into the unknown. The asphalt stretched empty before him, but in the rear view, his town dissolved into a shimmering haze, like a fever dream. An hour passed. His grip on the wheel a desperate, bone-white clutch, the only sound the frantic rhythm of his own breathing. Then, the road curved, and there it was. His own house, waiting on Maple Drive. An impossible anchor in the void. John's voice was a dry, shallow whisper of crushing stillness. No. The golden light curdled into a sickly, oppressive yellow. The town seemed to fold in on itself. Houses at the street's end blurred like wet paint on canvas. All sound grew muffled, as if swallowed by thick, damp wool. The Andersons sprinted to their car, but the engine only offered a dead, metallic click. Dead. They decided to run, to walk straight into the woods, over the mountains. The air grew heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. Their breath hitched as a faint scratching sound echoed from the tree line. A primal dread took hold, urging them deeper into the shadowed wilderness. The neighbors stood motionless in their doorways, their gazes fixed with a grim blend of pity and resignation. Mr. Henderson offered only a slow, sorrowful shake of his head, his expression heavy with unspoken warning. The air grew thick with the scent of damp earth and something faintly metallic as they approached the woods. Then, in the tree line, Lily's scream tore through the heavy stillness. Emily, the little girl, stood between the trees, pale and translucent. Behind her, faint shapes materialized. Men in 1920s hats, women in 50s dresses, all spectral, all staring with vacant intensity. The air thickened with the scent of damp earth and something metallic, like old pennies left in the rain. Emily's voice echoed, as if from a great distance, each word carrying the weight of the grave. You can't leave. The gully is closed. The words hung in the heavy air, a pronouncement that felt both ancient and absolute. The portal seals shut for 33 years, locking you here with us now. Sarah's voice breaks, thick with tears, as she whispers into the oppressive air. Who are you? Emily's reply carries a weight of ages, her voice dry as forgotten parchment. We are the ones who stayed. The scent of damp earth and old iron settles around them, a cold, clinging touch against the skin. John turned back toward the town, but what he saw made his breath catch in his throat. The entire settlement was shimmering, its edges bleeding into nothingness. Buildings and roads faded, consumed by a uniform, gray haze of digital decay. It resembled nothing so much as a lost television signal, broadcasting only emptiness back at him. The erasure wasn't happening to the town itself, but to them. Their memories, their very presence in the world, were being systematically unpicked. A damp, metallic scent filled the air as John's realization took hold. We're not on the map anymore. We never were. This time, we're part of the gap. The world around them silences. The last sound is the wind, which sounds like a million pages turning. A gray static washes over the camera, and everything goes black. Silence stretched for 3 heartbeats before the acoustic melody returned, now warped, dissonant, as if the guitar strings themselves were fraying. The once familiar tune twisted into something alien, each note slightly sharp or flat, creating an unsettling harmony that seemed to vibrate through the vehicle. A faint scent of damp earth and ozone seeped through the vents, mixing with the metallic taste of unease in the air. Outside, the Ohio wilderness swallowed the road ahead, the GPS map offering no comfort, only endless green and the serpentine blue of the river. The car rolled past a twisted, corroded sign bearing only the words, "Welcome to." It continued onward without slowing. A faint scent of ozone and damp earth crept through the cracked window, as if the air itself had grown heavy. Miller's Hollow doesn't exist, not in 2024, yet here we were, driving deeper into a place that shouldn't be, the road ahead swallowed by unnatural darkness. When you search for it, you'll only find old forum posts from 1990 or 1957. People asking about grandparents who moved to a town they can't locate. Every single post goes unanswered, leaving only digital echoes. Then, the screen shows a government missing persons site, with photos of John, Sarah, and Lily Anderson. Their final known location was along the route to Ohio, before the case went cold. The Anderson family is officially listed as missing, presumed lost somewhere within those ancient, shadowed hills. Back in Chicago, their home was quietly sold off, the sale a hollow echo of the life that once filled it. The only clues left are a cold case file, and the heavy, unanswerable question hanging in the air. What happened on that road? Their bank accounts lie dormant, frozen in time. To the outside world, they've simply ceased to exist. The air in their empty home holds the stale scent of abandonment and forgotten things. But now, the old map from the Andersons' hallway is held in a gloved, unknown hand. A steady hand guides a fountain pen, drawing a precise new dot on the Ohio Valley map. In flowing script, it labels the location. Miller's Hollow. The hand turns the ledger's page, revealing the date at the top. 2056. Some places don't want to be found. They just want residents. So examine your map. Study the voids between the lines. What do you suppose occupies them? A metallic tang like ozone and old iron seeped into the stale air. A faint, wet scratching sound began, not from the walls, but seemingly from within the paper itself. A primal dread took hold, the kind that freezes breath and turns thought to static. The GPS flickered, its screen warping to reveal a phantom road that shouldn't exist. The pen's final stroke settled into the paper with a wet, final sound. The camera held on the town's name, the ink seeming to pulse in the dim light. Then, the music died, swallowed by a wave of pure, empty static.
If the legend hooked you, subscribe and open the next case.